Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mackie.
Sid.
And today is our second bonus video. So these videos we do one a month, and the topic is chosen by our Patreon team members. So if you're interested in helping choose the next one, head on over to Patreon. We will put a link up there. You want to talk about what today's is?
Yeah, so our Patreon members wanted to know how we choose lines. So today's video is going to be about line choice, which of course varies a lot depending on the trail and the terrain, but we're going to show you some of the things that we look for and try to see, the lines that we try to see when we're pre-riding or just riding a trail for fun, trying to go fast.
Yep. So we're going to take you guys down Supreme, Upper Supreme here at Angel Fire Bike Park. This is a trail that we don't ride that often, so we figured...
I haven't ridden it this year.
You haven't ridden it this year.
Yeah.
So we figured that would be a really good one because we don't know it all that well. Like, we've obviously been down it, but we've never like taken the time to really go through it and be like, what are the best lines on here? Like, how would we essentially pre-ride it and choose our lines for a race? So we're gonna take you guys down it and show you what that looks like.
Before we get started, we want to talk a little bit about the sort of the principles of line choice and what makes something a good line versus a bad line. Bad
line if it causes you to crash or have a mechanical.
True. Well, that's a really bad
That's a really bad line.
However, you can still take a bad line and have nothing too terrible go wrong. This is obviously from the lens of trying to go fast. If you're just trying to have the most fun, then, you know, you
sometimes you choose different lines, yeah.
Generally, I would say one principle is that you're better off going over rough things than through them. Obviously,
meaning over, like your wheels aren't touching them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Obviously,
that's not always an option, and it may not be an option based on your skill set, but the more you're able to see those tiny little pops, like you don't have to get much air, you know, you can just be skimming over something, but it'll be that much faster because you're not getting bogged down in it. So, and
you can use things like roots, rocks, random bumps in the trail. You can use those as takeoff points to help you get that little bit of extra pop if you might not want to just like do the work of just doing a big bunny hop.
Yeah. So as I said, part of like line choice is not necessarily like where you are on the trail, it's how you're riding through that section of trail. So maybe instead of just say like point and shoot, you're looking for takeoffs and landings.
Yep. Another thing that's really helpful or that we really look at with line choice is corners. There's a lot of time to be either gained or lost in corners. And one of the best ways to gain time in a corner is to set up wide, and that's not true of every corner, but most corners. If you can set up wider, it allows you to carry more speed through the corner so that you're coming out faster. One thing that we do want to mention when we're talking about line choice is what is not a cool line. Enduro has a reputation of like enduro lines or French lines, people like to call them. No offense to the French, but you know, and actually, so I've raced in France, and I understand why a lot of French riders see no problem with like cutting down a trail, because so many of the trails are like cow paths, and there's already like 6 different trails from the 50 different cows that all went slightly different ways, so it doesn't make any difference. But here,
and it's just a different philosophy.
It's a different philosophy, yeah.
Racing.
But here in the U.S., especially on purpose-built trails, the last thing you want to do
with other users.
That you share with other users, yeah. The last thing you want to do is just like cut straight down a trail. It's faster to not ride a switchback and just ride straight down the center. But like then all of a sudden you're creating a new trail that isn't properly designed, so you're getting erosion run down it. There's just all these issues, and it's like
stay on the trail.
Stay on the trail. Yeah.
You can be creative and faster with your line choice while still staying on the trail.
Yeah.
And also, before we get into this, right now we are riding in a bike park, so that is kind of like a different ball game. So there might be some lines, and we'll point this out if we do it, that like maybe wouldn't be okay at your local trail that you're sharing with other users, but at a bike park where that's kind of the point and it's a downhill trail, then that's, you know, more of an okay line.
Yeah, and so many of these trails are like, they're already super wide because there's been so many people riding them, or they were built by a machine, which is, you know, by default like 4 or 5 feet wide. So you have a little bit more wiggle room on these kind of trails. If you're riding beautiful, pristine single track in the backcountry,
stay on it.
Stay on the trail. That's all. Okay, we're gonna go ride our bikes.
Okay, do you want to talk about that first and then just do it?
Yeah.
The storm's still pretty close, so just keep a watchful eye out.
Yeah,
Like,
thanks. We were sort of looking at it being like, okay,
yeah, no,
it's
like
coming.
a mile short of shutting us down again.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
just keep it in mind.
Appreciate it. All right, so this very first thing on Supreme is this wooden bridge. And the wooden bridge itself is fairly straightforward. Kind of intimidating looking, but I wanted to talk about these corners right after it. So we talked on the chairlift about going wide into corners. The other way that you can potentially speed up a corner is by making it less of a corner. So essentially like straight lining what would be sort of an S-turn. So this is a pretty good example. So bridge comes down, and then let's see if I can get it at a good angle so you guys can see this. So bridge comes down, and then you can see this S-turn right here, S-turn there. You come off this bridge and stay more to the inside. You can make this first turn less of a turn. You can kind of cut through on the inside, and then you can sort of cut through on that next turn also. That's kind of a hard one, because like sometimes that's faster. In this case, I think it is faster because you're able to just make it a shorter distance between two lines. That being said, if you have a turn that's got like a really good pump to it that you can pump hard and actually pick up speed by pumping through the turn, then it's going to be slower to go straight through the center. So I'm going to have Sid ride it, and I think she's going to end up staying more outside, and then I will end up riding it after her, and I'll stay kind of more through the center, and then you guys can kind of see what the difference there looks like. All right, I'll follow you. You stop when you see something. That could be a good one. Yeah.
Here we've got a little Rudy thing, and a low line has appeared. I don't think the low line's faster.
I suspect not, but we can try riding it at the same time and see
if we crash into each other.
See if we crash into each other.
All right.
It was a little hard to tell because that's such a short little section, but it seemed like I popped out behind Sid like right about the same spot, but she then had a straight shot into the next section and I had to turn back into the trail. So as we suspected, the upper line is the better line there, because even if the speed's the same, then as you go back out onto the trail, you end up carrying more speed because you don't have to make another turn. So the low line is basically adding like 1, 2, 3 turns to what is just a like straight shot otherwise. Ah, yeah, this part.
Yeah, let's talk about this section.
All right.
What are you gonna do here? We got a rock. You could use the rock to launch. Could also go right next to the rock and not launch.
Yep.
Which to me looks like it might be faster.
Yeah.
But then up here, it looks like it'd be nice if you could take this little route and gap that pile of rocks.
Yep. And then after that, let's walk up there and look at it. So yeah, this rock, while you could hit it, there's not really anything after it that you need to avoid. And it seems like a kicky one, so it's going to kick you up a lot, which is just making you have more more height than you need. Whereas generally the more on the ground you stay, the better, unless you're trying to clear something. So now looking at this section, what are you thinking?
Boost from there to there.
Okay, so basically hop off this route, clear those rocks.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where are you, yeah, what are you thinking up here?
I mean,
High line or low line?
for me, probably just low line, because it's not that steep of a turn.
Yep.
And I feel like getting into the high line, unless you let go there, is going to be slower.
Okay.
At least for me.
So you're gonna basically
Just monster truck.
boost off these routes to clear that,
Yeah.
and then stay on this low line and be ready to hook hard right into that next
Yeah.
turn. Okay.
What are you going to do?
Let's go look at that next turn also, just so we know what's coming.
If I can get out of the high line here and just take this slightly wider line.
Oh yeah, that would be better.
That's
Because
probably better.
this is a tightish turn.
Yeah, it's a bit tighter than it looks, isn't it?
Yeah.
But because you don't really want to go. At least I don't really want to be on this inside though. That just looks like a chunder pile.
You mean on the left, the outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then what do you do there?
Yeah. That's what I was trying to decide, is if you could go like inside to inside along here, but it'd be hard, I think, to get from those rocks over that route and still make that next left.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, I think probably set up wide in this turn, like you were talking about, and then wide through that turn and carry a lot of speed on the way out. Okay?
Yeah, the hard part's going to be setting up wide here.
Yeah.
That's what I think is hard.
All right, I'll film you from down here. Nice. Oh, super smooth. Nicely done. That seemed really smooth.
Yeah, that was fine.
Cool. Sid's line looked really smooth. What I'm going to attempt to do is stay rider's left a little bit more and see how that is. It may be that it's so loose up there and like kind of off camber that I can't really hold it up there, at which point it's not going to be a better line, because if you can go faster on the low line and carry more speed, that's going to be better than having to slow down to do the high line. So we'll let Sid film and see how it looks.
Well, that was fast.
I thought it looked pretty good. It felt
Yeah.
pretty good. It was interesting from below. It looked like it was way off camber, but then once you got on it,
It wasn't that
tires
bad.
were, like, not
It
too
looked
bad.
a little sketchy, like right when you got on it, you were really close to that log on the side.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
you didn't hit
felt
it,
pretty
so you're
controlled,
fine.
so I'm not sure I would have gone faster in the low line, so I think that's
Yeah,
probably the line
cool.
for me.
This part is way steeper than it looks, for starters.
Yeah, well, GoPro effect always.
Yeah. But it also, the worst part of this is it ends with that dumb bridge.
And it's loose.
It doesn't look that bad right now, actually.
Yeah, it actually looks
compared to the
surprisingly
time.
good. But yeah, I feel like you pick up a lot of speed on this section, and then it's really hard to scrub that speed by the bottom, which is
Not
where
fall
you,
off the bridge.
yeah, which is where you need to be going controlled.
I have a tendency with these steep ones to just get in the trench and like go.
I think down here there's a spot that you're gonna want, like that you're really gonna want to be high. You see where down there?
Where that pointy rock is.
Well, right after the pointy rock, if you stay low, it's gonna squiggle, which is gonna be really hard to make. I think that's where going high is gonna be the most important. And then right past that yellow sign is a steep little bridge thing, and then you have to turn right into the next part of the trail. So you have to be controlled through this.
Once I nearly missed the bridge, which was very scary.
Nearly missed the bridge, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't really see the bridge.
No. So you're talking down here, you're gonna come off the high line, hook into that little pocket,
Yeah.
and then go
Because otherwise,
up
I
and
think
back
there's
down.
kind of a hole there. You sort of like plop, plop.
Yeah, I think you
hole.
have to stay on the left
And then
side.
you have to squiggle to make sure you're on the bridge.
Yeah. All right, should we try it?
Yeah. Film you first?
So I think I'm gonna stay on the right side through here, and then set up left.
Okay.
And I may even try to stay high left all the way through, so I don't have to squiggle next to the tree with the sign on it.
Okay. He didn't mean to go down there. So now he's gonna have to hike back up. Oops.
As you guys saw, I wasn't able to stay on the high line the whole way down like I wanted to, and that just is what it is. I think it's just so off camber that you can hold it for a while, but then you get pulled back down to the trench. So I was able to do just what Sid was talking about, hit the high line, down, and then drop into that pocket right by the tree with the yellow sign on it. So drop into that pocket and then down and down the bridge. So now Sid's gonna go run through it. Yeah, well, you went onto the high line sooner than I did.
Yeah. It actually wasn't bad coming off of that, though. I got fit into this really nicely.
Cool.
Like I didn't have to dodge the hole.
Yeah, nice.
But it wasn't that quick. What have we got up here? It's like steep with like little baby drops.
Ugh. I didn't get to any baby drops. I just know that it's steep and loose.
I don't think there's much line choice on this section.
I don't think there is either.
It's just hold on for dear life.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
By which she means be aggressive, get over the front of the bike and control it.
Exactly. Hey, look.
Oh, look, a deer. Hi, deer.
No.
He's got some big ears.
Sleeping.
Sleeping.
I think that's the best I've ridden that section.
Yeah, that looked really clean.
I'm just feeling way more confident to like let it go a little bit. I think we've got something that's new here.
All right, should we go look at it, or should we?
I don't remember that being built up. I remember this. There's like little drops like that all along this section. That looks like a built-up thing, but it's
Gotcha.
not.
Yeah, yeah.
This whole trail is kind of just like it's good to pick lines, but then at the end of the day, you have to just commit to wherever you end up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you have to be willing to let the lines change. Because, I mean, that's what happened to both of us on that last section.
Yeah.
Is we were like, this is the line we're going to take. And then both of us ended up getting sucked
Yeah.
into the trench sooner than we thought.
Which is kind
And
of
it's
just the
fine.
nature of this kind of a steep trail.
Oh, yeah.
But a few more runs on it, we probably would be staying where we want it to be.
Yeah. It's also, though, part of, like, enduro is, in enduro, you don't get to walk and pre-ride
Right,
every
and
single
you're
trail
never gonna
6
do everything
times.
Perfect, so.
So you might as well, like, plan your lines and then accept that if you don't hit them, then it's fine.
Can you
Keep
see
going.
what happens down here? I can't remember if it's better to go low. I think it's just a little huck at the very end.
Yeah, I think it's a little huck that, yeah, that you probably want to take and then be ready to make the turn right after it.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Do we want to just run this?
Yeah, let's run it. I'll follow you.
All right,
Ready?
here's winging it.
Winging it. Yeah, nice high line. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
good. That section is just so loose
Yeah.
that like you're going to be drifting no matter what, and it's just controlling that drift and like looking ahead.
So I don't know if you can tell, but there were some spots where we
Yeah.
sort of gapped over rocks. Nothing fancy, but you're just like,
Yeah, it's like when there's a couple of pointy rocks in a row, if you can use the first one to clear the next 3 or 4, it just
there's a
smooths
good
everything
one down
out.
here, I feel like.
A good one, cool. You guys could see right back here, Sid used that route to then clear these rocks and then use this rock as a landing and then just like whoop, right through those ones and carried lots of nice speed out of there.
So this little section is a perfect example of a point where the outside line, which is the better to set you up for this corner, is full of rocks. So if you're gonna take this outside line, you better be going over the rocks, otherwise it's probably not gonna be faster. I took kind of a middle line here, went straight, and then went wide in the corner there. Because I suspect if I tried to boost from there to there, I'd only make it like halfway, which would not be fast or fun or safe. Mackie's gonna show us how it's done.
So that's a pretty good line, I feel like, for me, because it sets me up. I can hit that first rock and like clear the next ones, and then it sets me up in the outside of the right-hand turn already. Well, there you guys have it. That was Upper Supreme DH, which I actually enjoyed a lot more, like going through and like working on stuff.
It's in good condition right now.
Yeah, but also like, it's amazing how much actually taking the time to like look at a trail helps. So we are gonna wrap up. The chairlifts are closed at this point because of lightning. So I hope this was helpful and you guys learned something. That's sort of how we look at different lines and how we think about stuff. Obviously you can apply this to any trail. If you like this kind of stuff and you're curious more specifically how we pre-ride, we'll put a link to our pre-riding video that we did last year up there. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you want to be involved with these bonus videos, with choosing the topics for these bonus videos, join us on Patreon. We'll have a link pinned in the comments. And until next time, don't forget to be more awesome.